Since the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war, we have witnessed numerous attacks. In the early stages of the conflict, Russian airstrikes were intense and devastating. However, Ukraine managed to establish an effective line of defense and eventually gained attention with successful counterattacks. In today's video, we've compiled some of Ukraine's most impressive responses to Russian air assaults. Stay with us to find out more. May 2nd, 2025, a Russian Su-30 multi-role fighter jet valued at £38 million was reportedly shot down by a Ukrainian Special Operations Unit from the GUR using an R-73 missile launched from an unmanned sea drone over the Black Sea near Novorossiysk. This historic strike was carried out by the GUR's Elite Group 13 and marks one of the first instances of a surface-to-air missile being launched from an unmanned naval platform. According to Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, the attack took place approximately 50 kilometers west of Novorossiysk. The missile was launched from the Magura Sea Drone, an unmanned naval platform specifically developed for stealth and strike operations. This operation demonstrates a new frontier in naval warfare, where autonomous sea-based drones can now deliver air-to-air missiles with deadly precision. Although the concept of launching surface-to-air missiles from non-traditional platforms isn't entirely new, Ukraine's armed forces successfully carried out a similar strike in December last year. Such attacks continue to surprise military observers. The use of sea-launched SAMs represents a significant tactical evolution. When paired with skilled operators and advanced FPV drones, these unmanned platforms can effectively dismantle enemy air defenses at a fraction of the cost of traditional systems. One of the most striking aspects of this incident is the apparent unawareness of the Russian pilot. Many now question how the pilot failed to detect the incoming threat. It's likely that the pilot did not expect any danger in that sector of the Black Sea and therefore had little to no defensive readiness. The low-energy nature of the strike left the pilot with few options for evasive maneuvers, significantly reducing their chance of survival. Strategically, this strike signals a serious shift for Russian forces. It underlines the necessity for Russia to reconsider its defensive posture regarding threats from the sea. Without countermeasures against sea-launched SAMs, Russian pilots risk losing their operational freedom over maritime zones. Ukraine's ability to deliver low-cost, high-impact blows has now imposed a significant strategic burden on Russia. In conclusion, Ukraine's innovative and efficient approach to modern warfare once again demonstrates how a combination of technology and tactics can yield powerful results. For Russia, this incident serves as a clear warning. Bolster your defenses or remain vulnerable to evolving threats from land, air, and now the sea. July 23, 2024. Ukraine's 110th Brigade detected two Russian Su-25 aircraft. The Russian pilots were flying at low altitude in the area to carry out an attack. Ukrainian forces prepared for a counterstrike and a missile launched with a MANPADS, Man-Portable Air Defense System, successfully hit one of the Su-25s. There's a notable detail here. Neither of the Russian pilots deployed any flares, infrared countermeasures, against the missile. In other words, they didn't even notice the approaching missile until one of the planes was hit. There could be several reasons for this. They may have already run out of flares they had on board. Looking at the technical specifications of the Su-25, particularly the Su-25T or the Su-25TM Su-39 model, also known as Frogfoot, the aircraft is supposed to be equipped with an active electronic countermeasure (ECM) system. This system is designed to operate automatically, detecting electromagnetic waves in radar and infrared bands, and providing multi-directional protection without pilot intervention. The ECM suite of the Su-39 includes a radio reconnaissance set operating in the 1.2 to 1.8 GHz range, capable of detecting and identifying all types of acquisition and fire control radars. A jammer that emits noise, intermittent signals, and deceptive direction signals to confuse enemy radars. An optronic jammer to interfere with missile IR infrared guidance systems. IR decoy dispensers working passively alongside the aircraft's cold engines to provide thermal protection. Decoy aerial targets used to deceive enemy air defenses, airborne radars, and guided missiles. However, there are uncertainties about the effectiveness of these systems. The use of older aircraft models and the operational impact of sanctions imposed on Russia may have reduced the system's reliability. In addition, some sources suggest that the Mercury pod and Vickers systems used on both the Frogfoot, Su-39, and Kamov helicopters rely heavily on French-made electronic components. This indicates that foreign dependency has created a significant vulnerability under wartime conditions. October 31, 2022. Personnel from Ukraine's 54th Mechanized Brigade successfully shot down a Russian Mi-8 helicopter near the T-1302 highway, close to Berestov in Donetsk Oblast. This event highlights Ukraine's effective air defense capabilities and underscores the vulnerability of Russian aerial assets. The downing of this helicopter represents more than a single loss. It delivers a significant blow to Russia's efforts to establish air superiority. Originally developed during the Soviet era, the Mi-8 is one of the most widely produced multi-purpose helicopters in the world. It has been used in both military and civilian operations across decades and under various conditions. The Mi-8 serves in roles such as assault, troop transport, logistical support, and medical evacuation, making it one of the most essential aerial assets in the Russian arsenal. Powered by 2 turboshaft engines, the Mi-8 can typically carry up to 24 fully equipped soldiers. While these features enhance its operational flexibility, they also expose critical vulnerabilities in modern warfare. Its low-altitude flight patterns and relatively slow speeds make it a convenient target for modern air defense systems. Despite its versatility, the Mi-8 struggles to survive in contemporary combat environments. Low-altitude operations render it highly susceptible to manpads, man-portable air defense systems. Thermal imaging technology, particularly when utilized by Ukrainian forces, is capable of locking onto such helicopters with high precision. Although some Mi-8 variants are equipped with defensive countermeasures like flares and chaff, older models often lack the necessary upgrades to fend off modern threats, leaving them severely exposed. The Mi-8 typically operates at low altitudes and moderate speeds, making it easy prey for thermal tracking systems. If these helicopters lose speed or altitude during flight, their maneuverability diminishes rapidly, and they become easy targets for manpads. This can result in the aircraft crashing swiftly with serious consequences on the battlefield. The lack of modernized countermeasure systems in many Mi-8s creates a critical security gap against sophisticated air defenses. Upgrading these helicopters is essential to enhance survivability and allow Russian air forces to conduct safer operations in contested airspace. September 24, 2022. In southern Ukraine, Ukrainian forces successfully brought down a Russian Su-30 fighter jet using a MAN-PADS. Although the exact moment the aircraft was hit wasn't clearly captured, the dramatic aftermath of the Su-30 crashing into the ground was recorded. The system used in this operation was the FIM-92 Stinger, a highly effective air defense weapon supplied by Western countries. At first glance, the FIM-92 Stinger may appear to be a simple shoulder-fired missile, but it contains highly advanced technology, making it a crucial element in modern battlefield defense. It is designed to be carried and operated by a single soldier, giving it a significant advantage in terms of mobility. The core of the weapon is a long tube containing a single missile. Once fired, the tube cannot be reused. At the front of the missile is an infrared IR guidance sensor that detects the heat emitted by the target's engines and automatically guides the missile. This makes it extremely user-friendly. The soldier simply aims at the target and the missile takes care of the rest. The launch process of the Stinger involves 2 stages. First, a launch motor ejects the missile from the tube. Then, the main rocket motor ignites, accelerating the missile to a speed of around 2,500 kilometers per hour. The effective range of the FIM-92 is about 4 to 5 kilometers, with a maximum effective altitude of approximately 3 to 4 kilometers. These features make it extremely dangerous for low-flying aircraft, helicopters, and unmanned aerial vehicles. For Ukraine, the Stinger was practically a lifesaver, especially in the early months of the war. Faced with frequent low-altitude attacks by the Russian Air Force, the Ukrainian military began to establish control over its airspace with the help of Western-supplied Stingers. Thanks to its portability, the system could be quickly deployed along front lines, giving Ukrainian forces not just a tactical edge, but a psychological one as well. A well-trained Ukrainian soldier could activate the system and target an enemy aircraft in just a few seconds. Numerous helicopters, reconnaissance drones, and even some fixed-wing aircraft were neutralized with this weapon. The Stinger's impact was especially evident around Kyiv and the Eastern Front. The success of this weapon was measured by enemy losses as well as by the morale boost it gave to Ukrainian soldiers. Over time, the Stinger became more than just a weapon. It turned into a symbol of Ukraine's resolve and spirit of resistance. A single soldier, a single launch, and a well-placed shot could create an invisible barrier against a massive war machine. October 23, 2022. Why did the Russian pilot have to eject from his jet despite no apparent attack? According to news reports, the Russian pilot was forced to eject from his Su-25 SM-3 combat jet due to severe damage sustained by the aircraft. At the moment of ejection, smoke from the wreckage can be seen a short distance away. Although the exact location where the pilot landed remains unknown, considering the proximity to the battlefield, questions have been raised as to why the pilot didn't immediately run toward cover. To understand this situation, it's important to consider the shock that follows an ejection. When a pilot ejects from a jet, the experience is intensely dramatic and traumatic. It's almost like the body is being rebooted from scratch. Ejected at high speed, the pilot's body is subjected to extreme G-forces and sudden movement, causing immense physical stress. It may take time for the pilot to even realize if they've suffered any fractures or bleeding, as adrenaline floods the body and temporarily masks pain. However, it's one of the first critical actions a pilot must take upon ejection is to check the condition of their arms and legs. Many pilots sustain injuries during ejection due to G-forces, and some are left unable to fly again. The transponder included in the ejection kit plays a critical role in determining whether the pilot has survived. This device allows friendly forces to locate them. But to survive after landing, the pilot needs to buy some time, ideally before enemy troops reach the crash site. Removing the parachute and avoiding detection by the enemy can be vital during this window. If time permits, the pilot can build shelter using natural cover in the area to conceal their location. After ejection, the pilot will typically take out their map and compass to try to determine their position. In such situations, one of the most important steps is to either head stealthily toward friendly lines or find cover and wait for rescue. Yet this process can turn into a grueling survival ordeal. Quick thinking, physical resilience, and accurate environmental assessment become the key factors that increase the pilot's chances of survival. September 11, 2022. In this video recorded from inside a jet, two Russian Su-25 aircraft are flying at low altitude when they are targeted by Ukrainian forces using a man-pads. During the first attack, the Russian pilots managed to evade the missiles by deploying flares, countermeasures designed to deceive missiles by mimicking the heat signature of a jet engine. After the initial attack, the Russian jets change course and continue flying for a while longer. This is a tactical move aimed at escaping the range of the man-pads system. Once the threat appears to be neutralized, the Russian pilots maneuver to reach a safer distance. However, before the Su-25s can reach safety, Ukrainian forces launch another attack. This time, the rocket narrowly misses the first Russian jet but causes significant damage to the one flying ahead. While the missile does not achieve a direct hit, signs suggest that the second jet begins to lose fuel or hydraulic fluid. This can severely compromise the aircraft's operational capability and lower the pilot's chances of survival. Had the rocket shifted just a few centimeters to the right, it might have struck the wing or the engine directly, leading to far greater destruction. A missile that fails to hit its target dead-on can sometimes make all the difference between victory and defeat in war. A small detail with enormous consequences. August 9th, 2024. We already know how effective Ukrainian troops can be with FPV drones on the battlefield. This video shows an FPV drone operator successfully striking a Russian military helicopter. Thanks to the drone's high precision and the skill of an experienced operator, such attacks can make a critical difference in combat. While the footage doesn't show the helicopter's crash, survival after such a strike is highly unlikely. For any experienced helicopter pilot, the chance of surviving a complete tail loss is less than 2%. While entering auto-rotation may slightly increase the chance of survival, it's only a minor contributing factor. There are many other elements at play. First, the explosion causing the loss of the helicopter's tail shifts the aircraft's center of gravity drastically forward. This creates a severe imbalance, making the helicopter uncontrollable and essentially turning it into a lawn dart. In such a scenario, recovery is nearly impossible, as all flight stability is lost. Second, the shock from an explosion at the tail section delays the pilot's reaction time significantly. High-speed shrapnel striking the helicopter also hinders the pilot's ability to regain control. This can result in physical harm to the pilot and complete loss of aircraft control. In conclusion, FPV drones, especially in the hands of skilled operators, have become highly effective weapons. Such strikes are extremely strategic and dangerous, offering a serious advantage in weakening enemy forces during war. June 16, 2022. This footage captures the moment Ukrainian troops hit a Russian Mi-35M helicopter, a moment that could shift the course of the battle in the skies. By analyzing the proportional size of the missile to the helicopter in the footage, it's possible to identify the target as an Mi-35M. Considering the Mi-35M is about 18 meters in length, we can also speculate about the type of missile used. Based on missile speed, we know that the Polish Piorun travels at 660 meters per second, while the Russian-made Igla missile flies at 570 meters per second. Taking these speeds into account, it's likely that the weapon used was either a Piorun or an Igla missile. These missiles, with their high speed and target lock capabilities, present a significant threat to helicopters. They disrupt helicopter movement and greatly impair maneuverability, reducing effectiveness in combat scenarios. The Mi-35M, primarily used for assault and reconnaissance missions, would be forced to abort its mission following such a hit. This video stands as concrete evidence of the effectiveness of Ukraine's military force and its modern air defense systems. March 2, 2022. Another Russian Mi-35 helicopter is shot down by Ukrainian air defenses. This incident provides one of the clearest video records of a man-pad strike, as both the impact and the aftermath are clearly visible. Such footage highlights just how effective frontline air defense systems are in modern warfare, and how they can shift the balance of power. Ukrainian forces have been conducting highly effective attacks using shoulder-fired air defense systems. These lightweight yet deadly weapons are especially dangerous for helicopters flying at low altitude. Man-pads are easy for soldiers to carry and operate, and they come equipped with powerful, high-precision missiles. Using these systems, the Ukrainian army has successfully targeted and downed several Russian helicopters. This situation underscores how the battle for air superiority directly influences frontline dynamics. Helicopters often undertake strategic missions over enemy territory at low altitude, but these types of attacks can lead to major setbacks. Ukraine's efficient use of mobile air defense systems illustrates the critical role they play in modern warfare. During recent clashes, Ukrainian air defenses have engaged low-altitude targets and struck strategic aerial assets, significantly undermining Russia's air support. These types of attacks are crucial for achieving air superiority, as strong air defenses severely limit enemy mobility and offensive capability, directly impacting the balance on the ground. September 12, 2022. In the following footage, we witness the crash of a Russian Su-25 fighter jet during takeoff. Such moments are rarely captured, and each one carries a dramatic story behind it. According to statements made shortly after the incident, the pilot of the aircraft, Daniel, could not be rescued and lost his life. Initial reports suggest that the crash occurred due to a loss of control during takeoff. Whether the aircraft experienced a technical failure or if it was pilot error is still under investigation. However, what truly stands out here is that the crash resulted in the loss of an aircraft as well as a far greater human and strategic loss. Su-25s are heavily armored and combat-capable aircraft that have been in use since the Soviet era. While the cost of producing one of these jets amounts to millions of dollars, the process of training and developing a combat pilot is even more expensive, complex, and long-term. There's a well-known saying in military strategy circles: the most expensive part of an aircraft is the pilot inside it. Training a pilot is not limited to teaching them how to fly. Years of theoretical education, simulations, real mission flights, and experience in various weather conditions require significant investment of both time and resources by the military. Every skilled pilot is a strategic asset in a country's air power. Therefore, Daniel's loss represents far more than the destruction of a fighter jet for Russia. It also means the loss of years of knowledge, experience, and human capital. Incidents like these serve as a reminder that in modern warfare, the human factor still plays a decisive role, and technology alone is never enough.